Hey fellow Rochers, so today we are going to do something very exciting. Now, have you ever wondered what's in your food? Now, I'm not talking about the food that you freshly prepared in your kitchen, but I'm talking about the food that comes in those packages. Now, if you have no idea, then well, you might want to sit down for this because we are going to dive into this crazy world of food chemicals. Now, here's a fun fact that an average American gobbles up around 75 kilos of food chemicals every year. Yeah, that's right, 75 kilos. That's like eating an entire person made of chemicals. And it's not exactly the kind of thing that you need to be having in your system. But seriously, food additives are everywhere. And if you go in a kitchen and if you have any of those food packaged items, you will notice on the ingredient section that some of them are food additives or either they are food chemicals. So if you want, you can just get a few of them and just sit down with them and just see if they have any of these chemicals that I'm going to mention. Because nowadays, these food chemicals are not playing hide and seek anymore. They're right there on your ingredients section and they are playing with your health. So let's get started. So what is the deal with all these chemicals in our food? Well, let me put it like this. Imagine you're on a date and everything seems perfect. And bam, they start listing all your exes. That's the similar kind of thing with what's happening with food these days. These additives are like X's of the food world. So they have a lot of baggage and they are not something that you want to be carrying around in your body. From making food last longer to making it taste better and even look prettier, that's what these chemicals do, and these chemicals have some serious side effects. So if you care about what you put in your body, which I know you do, stick around because we are going to go with the very first one. First, let's talk about the sweet stuff or artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose. Now, aspartame is 200 times more sweeter than sugar, and when it comes to sucralose, that's around 600 times more sweeter than sugar. Now, these devils might seem like the real deal because they have zero calories and they promise to keep your weight line in check. But here's the truth. Studies suggest that they are linked to a lot of things like headaches, digestive issues, and even weight gain. So even though you think that diet soda is really good, well, that diet soda might just be doing you more harm than good. And if you want to know which food items have them, well, look for the ingredients sections of diet sodas, sugar-free gum, low-calorie desserts, yogurt, tabletop sweeteners, baked goods, and even coffee sweeteners. And if something says 0 calories, they most probably have one of these two artificial sweeteners. So keep a watch. Now, the next on the hit list is high fructose corn syrup. This sneaky sweetener is there in most of these salad dressings and even your sodas. And I know most of you have probably gone through this where you go through a Subway and you're like, okay, I'm going to eat a fresh salad because a Subway or a salad is going to be healthy. And then you dump that entire salad with all these different salad dressings. I'm sure many of you, in the name of health, have done that. But that is not really healthy. But high fructose corn syrup in the salad dressings, we think that they are healthy, but they are like the friend in your life that secretly causes a lot of drama because it can mess with your metabolism, increase your appetite, and also lead to obesity. And excessive consumption of high fructose corn syrup can lead to a fatty liver because somewhere your liver doesn't understand it as sugar and it looks at it as fat. So your liver just metabolizes this fructose very differently as compared to normal sugar. And a few foods that might have this on the ingredient list are your soft drinks, your fruit flavored beverages, your packaged snacks, your cereals, your baked goods, candy, ice cream, and even desserts. And even a lot of your condiments like your ketchup and even salad dressings. And even processed food and fast food items. Now let's get a little preservative with two things that are BHA and BHT. Now, BHA prevents oils from going rancid. That's why your food ends up staying fresh for longer. So if you've noticed a lot of those packaged foods that feel fresh for a long time, that's maybe or mostly because of BHA. And both of them are used to keep food fresh and have a very extended shelf life. But research has raised some serious pretty issues or concerns because they might just be linked to cancer. They're also suspected to disrupt hormones, that's why many people just try and avoid them. And because these are food chemicals that you don't really want also in your system, so if at any point you see them in your ingredient label, just try and chuck them out. And the weird part is that these are mostly in most of your everyday products like your cereals, your chips, your baked goods, your beer, and even your packaged materials. They are also there in chewing gums, meats, and even cosmetics and pharmaceuticals. So next time, just make sure that you check the label. But wait, that's not it. Let's not forget another that's called sodium benzoate. These preservatives love to hang out in your soda, salads, and even your pickles. But when sodium benzoate meets vitamin C, they can form benzene, which is a chemical that is linked to cancer. And it's like a toxic relationship you didn't really sign up for. And the other things where you can find them is your packaged foods like jams, jellies, and even condiments. And yes, even salad dressings, pickles, and sauces. Now, another one to watch out for is propylene glycol. Now, this is quite surprising. And if you don't know what it is one of the ingredients in something that's called antifreeze. But spoiler alert, it's not something that you should be having on your dinner table because this is a coolant that goes in your car. But surprise, surprise, it's also found in a lot of processed food to help to maintain moisture. While even though the amounts of them in food are generally considered safe, consuming them in larger amounts could lead to kidney problems and also allergic reactions. But somewhere we also really need to use our common sense and try to avoid it completely because something that you put in a car is not something that we need in our bodies. So, no matter even if small amounts are safe, we ideally do not even require them. So, keep them away. Because somewhere it might just seem like you're inviting the wrong guest to the party. And even though they might seem harmless at first, things could just get messy. And here are some food types that you might find this in: baked goods, frosting and icing, ice creams, flavored beverages, processed snacks, food colorings, seasoning and even spice mixes, a lot of whipped dairy products such as whipped cream and toppings, and even many alcoholic beverages. And then you have something called as carrageenan. Carrageenan is a thickener that is derived from red seaweed that's commonly found in dairy and even dairy alternatives like almond milk and even yogurt. And even though this sounds harmless, but not really. Some studies have suggested carrageenan to inflammation and even causing digestive issues. And it's widely used in the food industry because of its ability to improve texture, provide a mouth feel, and even stabilize products. And here are some of those foods that contain carrageenan. So you have your milk alternatives like soy and even almond milk. You have ice cream, you have cream and creamers, you have yogurt, even desserts like pudding, jelly, and gelatin. Even canned meat and fish also do have them, and even canned pet food. But not just that, look for them also in protein shakes, meal replacements, and even infant formulas. Alright, now let's get serious with some big bad ones that you should be avoiding at all cost. In that, sodium nitrate tops the list. Now these you'll often find in processed meats like bacon, deli cuts, and even sausages. While something like a sodium nitrite might make that hot dog look very appetizing, it's linked to some serious health issues, including cancer. So, in short, if you're consuming anything like that, it's almost like eating a time bomb. And in general, if you can, just try to skip all the processed food and the processed meat and eat something that's a little less life threatening. What it does is that it helps prevent the bacterial growth from these meats and it gives it that pink color. So, any processed meat, you mostly will find a sodium nitrite in it. One thing to look at these labels is uncured or no nitrites and nitrates. But in my opinion, even though they'll add the alternatives, they still damage the body as similar to your nitrites. So just try and avoid it overall. Now, next up is MSG or monosodium glutamate. Now, this flavor enhancer is used in quite a lot of Asian food and it makes the food taste really amazing. But also, somewhere it can cause allergic reactions and also problems like headaches, heart palpitations, and even nausea in some people. And the foods that you should look out for that would have something like an MSG in it are your processed snacks, your instant noodles, especially those ramen and cup noodles, your soy sauce, and even some salad dressings. MSG is also used in a lot of canned soups, soup mixes, frozen foods, and even a lot of restaurant takeouts. And also sometimes look for your popcorn seasoning because that might also have MSG. And if you're trying to avoid MSG, look for these terms in your ingredient section, like your monosodium glutamate, hydrolyzed vegetable protein, autolyzed yeast, or natural flavoring, as any of these can also indicate the presence of MSG. And the next you have is trans fats. Now, these are the ultimate villains that you find in fried foods, baked goods, and even margarine. And trans fats are like those friends who really talk behind your back. They raise your bad cholesterol, which is LDL, and they lower your good cholesterol, which is your HDL, and they increase the risk of your heart disease. No wonder many health experts consider this as a silent killer. And seriously, try and avoid these at all costs because they are mostly present in all the foods that we kind of like. Now, here are the foods that trans fats are mostly present in. So, a lot of your donuts, pastries, cookies, cakes, and even those commercial cakes which have those frosting, they might just have trans fat. All fried foods, whether it's your French fries, your KFC fried chicken, any of those that are deep fried, even onion rings, they all have trans fats. Even pre-packaged frozen foods like your chicken nuggets and fish sticks, microwave popcorn, non-dairy creamer like your coffee creamers, frozen pizza crust, and even your pre-packaged biscuits and rolls. And one more thing to look for in your ingredients is that if it doesn't say trans fats, it might just say something like a partially hydrogenated oil or hydrogenated oil. That is one of the best way to figure out if there is trans fats present in it. So just look for these terms. Last but not the least, beware of food colorings like red 40 and yellow 5. These colors might make your food look very fun and festive and very beautiful to look at, but they can lead to a lot of hyperactivity, especially in children, and a lot of other health concerns. So, if at any point in your ingredient section you read any of this, you should ideally just try and avoid it because it is not good for you. And they are this synthetic food coloring that they use to just make a lot of vibrant colors, which quite a lot you see in those lollipops or maybe in the movie Barbie. And foods that contain these two artificial colorings are your sports drinks, your fruit punch, chips, candy, fruit snacks. Mainly those fruit flavored gummy bears, they might have red 40. Even desserts like ice cream, pudding, and gelatin, baked goods like your cakes and cupcakes, breakfast foods like your cereals, mainly those bright colored breakfast cereals that you get, they might have red 40 in it. Even lemonade and citrus flavored drinks might have yellow 5, like even your Mountain Dew, which is a very popular drink that has yellow 5. And even condiments and sauces like your mustard, which mostly has yellow 5, and even some pickle products. And if you want to avoid these, just look in the ingredients for red 40 or yellow 5, or FD and C red number 40 and FD and C yellow number 5. So now that you're armed with this knowledge, let's try and also help you with how to spot some of these chemicals in an other way. Now, if you see that ingredient list and there is a lot of them that you don't really understand, or if you see something that you cannot pronounce, or a long list of chemicals that mostly look like a chemical experiment rather than a recipe, that's usually a red flag. It's like a food trying to tell you something, so listen to it. And one of the best ways to avoid any additives in food is just try and stick to whole food. So your fruits, vegetables, and all the whole food that exists. They are literally like the good friends who always have your back. And they are very less likely to have all of these nasty surprises. So just remember to stay more vigilant with all these things that you consume and be aware. It's not just about dieting, it's also about making good informed choices that help you with your overall health. Let's face it, everyone wants to live a longer and healthy life, and no one wants to be fooled by food. Now, what are your thoughts on these food chemicals? And did you find any surprising chemicals in your food? Drop them in the comments because I'm waiting to hear some stories. Also, if you have any thoughts or ideas on future videos, do let me know in the comments. And until we meet again next, don't stress and be awesome. Rocher that.